Welcome everyone to Style, Accessibility and MS. Thank you all for being here today. We do appreciate your attendance. Today, joining me is the amazing Lyndsay, who is a founder of Naidex Sticks, to explore how style and accessibility go hand in hand, or should we say. Get ready for an inspiring conversation about mobility and accessibility, and we hope you enjoy it. So, to get started, I do have notes because MS, but we'll tell you about MS in a minute. Who am I? Well, my name is Roxy Murray. I've been living with multiple sclerosis for 18 years, and my journey with MS has brought me to becoming a disability rights advocate. I come from a background of fashion, and I realised that fashion's not very accessible, and it's not a very inclusive industry, and it should be. Because, as if you look around you, everyone's pretty stylish, and I think we deserve to be able to be part of the shows and have cute things so we can feel good too. I am a proud member of the BBC 100 Women, and I was named one of the most influential BBC women last year, and also part of the Disability Power 100. My work spans through media, fashion and advocacy, with a particular focus on diverse voices, the LGBTQIA+. And I have a podcast called the Sick and Sickening Podcast, where I empower disabled and chronically ill individuals to embrace themselves confidently and unapologetically, because we are awesome. Can't change my plans. So, what is MS? Some of you might be asking, because I didn't know what MS was when I got MS, so I'm sure not everyone does. So, my notes. We'll tell you, multiple sclerosis or MS is a chronic condition that affects my central nervous system, including the brain and my spinal cord. It occurs when the immune system attacks itself and the protective coating of your nerve for your blood and brain barrier. This causes problems in communication between the brain and the rest of my body. This can cause me a range of symptoms, including fatigue, difficulty walking, muscle weakness, and vision problems, and more. And as I speak, you'll probably start realizing my words will start slurring, and that's just the MS. So I've not had any alcohol today, unfortunately. MS affects each person differently, and for mobility and cognitive fatigue. This led me to explore accessibility and adaptive solutions like stylish mobility aids and devices and clothing to maintain my independence and my style, because it's something that I love most, is to look good when I can. So it's about feeling empowered and expressing ourselves and bringing joy to our daily lives, which brought me to discovering the amazing Lyndsay here. Because I was looking for a mobility aid that wasn't dull and boring and kind of gave me some joy. So, Lyndsay, can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Hello, everybody. So, I'm Lyndsay from Neo Walk, and I started the business because I couldn't find a nice mobility aid. It was as simple as that. I was an amputee, ambulatory amputee, walking with a prosthetic, needing a walking stick sometimes, and just couldn't find anything that said anything about my personality or who I was. I was only in my early 40s. So I made my own. Like a lot of businesses are born because somebody wants something that doesn't exist. So I made my own walking stick in my kitchen at home, in my oven at home, and I moulded the handle around a wine bottle, the first one. And so I went out and I used my walking stick, and it made me actually feel really good. It made me feel empowered. It made me feel more stylish. People were noticing my walking stick and saying, I really like your walking stick. And, thus the business was actually born. I thought this feeling of confidence it was giving me was something that I could give to other people.
Oh, you really did. You gave me a lot of confidence in my life, and I have a collection of, I think, 20 or 30 now.
Well, that almost becomes a problem, Rox.
Never a problem. So, this is Neo Walk, you can see on here. We have Christina Applegate launched a new FUMS cane collaboration. So, MS is close to my heart, but MS has also become close to your heart. So how did that come about?
So in our inbox, in our emails, we sometimes get some very strange emails. And one day there was one from Christina Applegate's stylist saying that Christina was going out in public for the first time with a walking stick and would we design something for her. So we did that, and Christina went out and she showed the world her new body, because her body had changed quite a lot. It was a big thing for Christina. And we made that walking stick for her. But then she became a friend of the business. She became a friend. And we decided that we would design this walking stick together that would represent the MS community, but also raise money for MS charities. So every time somebody buys one of our FUMS sticks, which you all know what that stands for, that was Christina's idea. Every time somebody buys one, we donate money to UX MS charities and to UK MS charities. So it's a way of giving back to that community. It's a way of representing that community that she's very passionate about, because I think she's quite newly diagnosed. It's only been about 4 years, so she's still on an early journey. But she's knocking it out of the park. She's doing well.
She is fantastic, but she has always been an icon.
I know. She's one of America's sweethearts, isn't she?
I used to have a complete girl crush on her back in the day, like in the outfits, the energy. We stand them. Yeah. So, as you can see here, we have why style and accessibility matters. The importance of feeling confident and stylish, regardless of mobility or disability status. So you can see here we've got a few different things. We have some icons and collaborations. We have a bit of Alexandra McQueen. One of these legs is actually an amputee adaptation, and that was on Alexandra McQueen's catwalk. Not very many people know about that, and I guess it's one of those things, unless you know, you know. But it was about, Alexandra McQueen's a fantastic designer, and his whole ethos was like, everyone deserves fantastic design. And he also liked to push boundaries when people weren't doing it. Obviously, he's not been with us for a long time, so you can imagine that was in the 90s when apparently we didn't exist. So it was always nice. He was one of my favourite designers to see that he was doing that for us way back then. And it's actually stylish. I know it's crazy, but it's actually nice. Then you've got Selkie, who's just done a collection at London Fashion Week this year. I think it was last month. And they had loads of wheelchair representation on the runway, which was absolutely fantastic. And then you have some iconic models, and we have the collaboration with Kristen Le Breton and an amputee, just to show that disabled people deserve to wear cute shoes. And I agree, because that's the bane of my life.
Isn't it a shame that we have to make a noise about this? Isn't it a shame that these examples aren't the norm? They're more they're just unheard of. It's even now, it's still such a shame. Because looking out all around this exhibition and in the audience, we all care what we look like, and I think we're underrepresented. And I really do believe that it's time that things changed.
No, I absolutely agree. I am sick of tokenism. And then I'm sick of when we do actually get the opportunity to have adaptable fashion. It's a bit bland, doesn't really allow us to fully portray our personalities. And I can see everyone's got an individual design, an individual style, and everyone likes a different period of time. So it's good to have basics. I'm all about fashion staples as a stylist. However, how do I change and enhance that if I can only get the basics? And what do I do to enhance that? So we started off with mobility devices, didn't we?
Start off with mobility aids and just, go from there. It's a way to express your personality. It's a way to express your individuality. You can personalise things. I'm not just talking about our walking sticks. I'm talking about across the board. I'm not saying that everybody should have one of ours. I'm saying there's choice. And until you look out there and you see that there is choice, it just opens a whole new world of colour and fashion and style and that individuality. Do Do you make your own clothing? Or do you adjust your own clothing?
I adapt it. I'm more of an art director than I am a designer. I'm not a sewing machine person. My dexterity over time with MS has not allowed me to hold a piece of fabric for a sewing machine as well as I used to be able to. However, I could tell you what you could look like and what you should make. And I do, it's like stud, everything that's stud, even this handle here, what I'm wearing, all done by myself. I often paint clothing a lot. Yeah, it's how I get my emotions out. My internal MS rage is what I call it. I put it on fabric, generally leather coats. Well, not leather, pleather coats. Yeah. If we don't do that. But, and I allow that emotion to come out then. And then I'll wear them and people are like, oh, it's really good. And I'm like, that's my anger for this situation.
Do you know, I've never thought of painting clothing, but that's genius.
Yeah, I just didn't realise that my canvas wasn't a canvas and it wasn't paper. And that's like the same with us. Like we all need different mobility aids. So to be an artist, I feel like you have to find your thing in line with my voice and clothing. And I have to learn how to hone that in and to utilise that. And that kind of is, I guess, the same thing where people think stereotypes, the symbol of disability, they think that of art, right? You have to do it on a canvas, you need to do it on paper. We've all been to like school and done art class and the teacher's like, no, make it exactly like that bowl of fruit. And you're like, well, actually, my brain's telling me no. And you're like, no, it's got to be the same as Picasso because if it's not Picasso, it's not good. We'll give them the FU, right? Yes. All right, yeah. So I'm all about changing stereotypes. I'm radically unapologetic, and I think we should be able to embrace our personal aesthetics, especially in our style, which obviously is why I love you, and I love what I'm sitting on. This is a Biarca. This was like a limited edition situation that they did together, and it saved me today on the way here because I had no seat on a train, and now I do. What do you think the fashionability device industries can do to serve the tool of personal style for the community?
Talk to us. Ask people what they would like to see out of a mobility aid. You know, is it colour? Is it shape? Is it handle shape? Is it just talk to people and ask them what they think that they would like to use? But also dare to do it. I think a lot of designers don't dare to tread where mobility lives because they don't want to do it wrong. They don't want to offend anybody, you know. And I just think they need to dare to do it. It's a big ask for some people, but you need to be prepared to go there.
Yeah. You do, and you do need to take risks, but is it a risk if you bring us in the room? It's the question, right? If you actually bring us in the room and you ask us what we want, it's less of a risk because then you actually know what we want, so we're more likely to want to buy it and to purchase it and to have it. So the risk is worth it, and ultimately my biggest thing was I was told there was no market, which is crazy because there is a market, and I'm sure like you'll go through different places today and there'll be places that are super fashionable and stylish and be offering you things to take home with yourself or to bring into your house, your adaptions, your beds, your things. And there'll be others that act like we're still a medical disability rather than an actual full human being with autonomy and likes and things that we care about. And that's something that we need to change because I want to live with ease. Like that's that. Who doesn't really, disability or not? But I want to do it without having to reduce who I am and what my personality is and how I see myself. And I don't think just because we have disabilities, we should be forced to do so.
Well, it's a bit like you diminishing yourself to fit into the box that designers are creating for us instead of them thinking outside. And I think it's also about designers not looking to just cater to the large markets. You know, they want to look at smaller markets, more niche markets, and cater towards them. So, you know, for clothing, I know we've just had the release of the Primark edition in Primark. I mean, it is limited edition. I do understand that, and I know it's the first time they've done it. But it would be nice to see them embrace some more colour in there, to cater to people who want to, we want to stand out. We're worth looking at. So hopefully that will come in the near future. But I think they just need to be prepared not to just cater for the large market.
Well, yes. So arguably, if you can do a Rita Ora collection, and you can do this, because we didn't all go into the sale because no one actually cares. So maybe embrace the rainbow and let everyone, because I've seen people buy the Primark collection that haven't got disabilities just because they were like, well, that's great. Like, this seems way easier. Like, I want the ease. So I reckon that actually more people will buy what you want to create if you just make it available. Like, no one's saying you have to like disable, just make it, put it in the shop. People that want it and need it will find it, and other people will buy it if they want it too. And it's just allowing us to know that you care and allowing us to care about ourselves. And that brings me to a question. How do you think us, as advocates and communities, can promote the message that style and confidence should be accessible to everyone? Basically to tell these companies what we want.
Speaking out, it's doing things like this. It's being represented in the media. It's talking to, newspapers. It's speaking out and having our voice heard, so people understand that we are an important part of society. But it's just not happening, is it? I mean, it's great that we're included here and we're talking about style and fashion here. Personally, I don't get asked. I mean, we're quite prominent characters in the disabled community. I don't get asked to speak out on anything in particular. If I push it, I can get our message out there, but people tend not to come to us to ask us what our opinions are. So we always feel like we're pushing. Wouldn't it be nice if it just felt easy and that we were just part of society and our opinion mattered?
Yeah, we always have to break through the walls and the doors and everything else. And even here, like, if I weren't emailing them, would they be emailing me? Big question mark. Want to be a stylist and still doing the things I want to do, but can I do that? No, because no one has any confidence in a disabled stylist, right? So then they don't give you the option to hire their clothing, take their clothing. No one wants to put you on a shoot. So we have disabled models and we do disabled campaigns, but do we hire disabled stylists that actually know how to care for other disabled people, what you should have at a shoot? No, we don't.
No. Probably not.
That's the problem.
And that would surprise, I think, a lot of non-disabled people. It would surprise them, just the barriers that we have to break through just to be here, at accessible venues, at train stations, for example, where you get pushed off a train and then there's a flight of stairs facing you. You get lifts that are broken down. It's just all those barriers that we have just to actually to be here and breathe in the same air. It's difficult. I think they'd be surprised.
Yeah, it is difficult. And it's exhausting. And when you already have a disability and you're doing so many other things like calling a doctor or just being a human being, having to email mass people and be like, hey, do you actually see us? Do we exist? Do you care? Like, can I come and give you some time where we can just have a chat and see if we're alive? That's also exhausting. Shouldn't be our thing. Which brings me to medical devices, right? So I went to a physio appointment recently and they showed me the things they could give me and my heart sunk. It was all very NHS silver, and it's not that I don't think we should have those tools, because if we need those tools and we can't afford other tools, we need something to be able to move with autonomy, right? But it brings me to, why doesn't the NHS ever consider pairing up with other suppliers or getting discounts, things that they can do so that if people do have the extra income, they can actually be able to get something that reflects their personality a bit more. And then, if we don't have the money, we can do what I do often, which is adapt things.
Adapt your own things.
Stickers, spray paint, metal spray paint was always good for my first NHS mobility aids. I was like, absolutely not, this is not bringing me joy. So I went outside, black tar. My partner was like, what are you doing? I was like, look, I'm bringing joy to my life. And I got some spray paints and I spray painted it up to make it feel like I wanted to hold this, because I had to deal with that transition into what my new normal was. And it wasn't easy, but this made it easier to have something that made me feel joyful. So
we've heard that a lot. We've actually heard that a lot from people that have come to the stand just to say, I felt able to leave the house whereas previously I haven't. You know, there's the stigma, the shame. There's a lot of shame surrounding using mobility aids, and in this day and age, it's not acceptable. And we've had quite a few. There's a UK Care Week exhibition going on as well, and we've had quite a few occupational therapists and physiotherapists come to our stand and gone, wow, you know, I know people that would love, you know, these mobility aids, these colours, this style, and we're unable to give them, and that they feel it as well. You know, it breaks their heart that they can't provide this type of thing. But, you know, equally, it's knowing that there's that choice out there, so then they can pass that information on. Even if they can't provide those mobility aids through the NHS, they can share the choices out there.
This conversation starter, it's changed like how I navigate in the world. Like, so, I mean, when you're young and you're disabled, everyone understands those conversations where people go to you, are you okay? What happened to you? You're right. For me, it's always, have you hurt your leg? How's that going? I'm like, it's not going to change. Are you sure? And then I'll see the same person again in weight rows a week later, and they're like, oh, how are you feeling now? Is it better? I'm like, it's not going to get better. And having mobility aids that I actually love and that are very colourful and are awesomely fashionable, people are more like, oh, that's really cool, that's really amazing. Like, I tried to walk in here and I was stopped so many times. Even in London, people go, oh, I've never seen that before. And it changes it from that, like, pity. Like, I don't want your pity. Who wants to be pitied? Like, we're awesome. We've adapted to our lives and we live amazingly, like, in the way that we want to live. I don't want every time I go outside to someone to ask me about what's none of their business, which is my disability or why I need to carry this thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, some people just think it's a fashion statement, which is also another weird situation where people just think I'm having like a pimp moment where I'm walking with a cane and it's like a fashion moment. And I'm like, I mean, I am awesome, but like, no, I need this. This is a thing that's helping me navigate through the world of autonomy.
Do you get, oh, you're too young to be disabled.
Yeah.
You're too pretty to be disabled.
I do get that.
You're too, you know, you're everything. Why are you disabled? Mind your own business, please.
So I guess what I'll say is we can have this beautiful array of rainbow neo hoodsticks, or we could have that. And I would say this makes me happier than this. And I'm sure everyone else can agree that you would rather be rolling and strolling and walking around the things that are colourful and they help our confidence as individuals like everyone else gets to do. The same way I buy the car I want to buy, or I look at the things I want to look at, and I adorn, this is something I'm adorning my body with. It's actually part of my body in essence, and I think it should be as beautiful as I feel like I am, and I think that all of you are. And I guess I'll leave it at that and bring it out to a Q&A and invite the audience, if you have any questions, feel free to ask us, and there's no pressure. Oh, very confident, I love that. Oh, thank you. I have, yeah. I haven't recently, but message me and we can talk, yeah. And in the back. I mean, it's still hard, right? Because like I've had my sweatpants and Ugg boot moments, right? When I first got diagnosed, I couldn't leave the house for 2 years, and I sat at home, I was so depressed and cried and all these things. And then eventually I realized, like, look, this moment is not helping me. Makes me feel like me? So I started painting my face more, and I started getting my clothes back on, and I started being sexier. And I realized that people's reaction to me was like, well, you're not really that disabled. Like, why are you doing that? And I'm like, I'm doing it for my own internal joy. I couldn't give a shit what you think, really, in all fairness. I need to live with my MS and myself day to day. And I'm going to do it the way that I see fit. And I talk in medical situations, like on stages, and talk about accessibility and stuff. And I know people are like, well, you don't really look medical. And you don't look that sleepy and tired. Like, I took my modafinil tablet this morning. Like, I've done the things I need to do to like get myself a base level so I can keep moving. You don't know what's going on behind this beautiful painting that we've done on our faces. We are feeling it, but with an invisible illness, right, and disability. It's a hard thing. They don't know there's days where we can't get out of bed and we can't do this. So when we can, we're going to show up in the best way that we can because we need to fill ourselves with joy. So it took me a while, but it became an internal thing for myself to basically not give a fuck about how they feel. And they will keep going and they will keep saying it. But you've got to be like, it's not my fault you're not making an effort and you've got no issues. When I am and you're mad at it, like, sort yourself out, don't worry about me.
It's that attitude that I encountered early on designing the walking sticks, the attitude of what's the point? But there's a huge point. And if, you know, as a non-disabled person, you may not, I always say this, you give we make light-up walking sticks. If you give a walking stick, a light-up one, to an average person, they'll jump around. A non-disabled person, they'll use it as a lightsaber and jump around. You give it to a person with a disability, and they might cry because they'll say, oh my God, this is amazing. And I feel that this represents me, and it's an emotional connection. But you give it to someone who isn't disabled, and they just don't get it. So in those first few years, that attitude of what's the point, we had to do a lot of work saying there is a point and this is the point. And I just find that a really, really sad attitude, very sad.
But people don't know until they know. And like we all know, like disability is the only, you know, minority that you can end up in at any moment, right? Some of us were born disabled, some of us acquired disabilities along the way. It's something that can happen at any moment. And people don't know that until they know that, right? And I've had some wild conversations with people. They've been like, well, I don't know how you do what you do and how do you live with MS? And I couldn't do that. And I'm like, look, do you think I knew? But, you know, I was like, I'm going to adapt. I'm going to become the person I want to become, regardless of this. I'm not going to let it own me. And that's what they don't understand. They don't understand that how highly adaptable people with disabilities actually become and how we actually still love ourselves. And for some people, that's a radical act, as you probably all know. Any other questions?
I always still try to feel my face. I always still try to put a bit of colour on my face, and it's a small amount of effort, but it just lifts me personally. So I just try and still acknowledge my face, even if the rest of my body is just falling apart. Yeah. How about you, Roxy?
For me, I'm a nails girl, as you can tell. So I'm always getting my nails and my feet done when I can because it keeps me grounded. And I've bought some sexy tracksuits. So like I went and bought some tracksuits that I know I like. So if I have to put tracksuit on, I still feel kind of level of stylishness. And then, like you said, a little bit of blush and a little bit of like lip oil with a little bit of a tint in it always makes you feel more alive, and an eyebrow. So I just go with the maintenance. If I do the maintenance when I can afford to, I always feel good no matter what. And skincare goes a long way when you feel rubbish because you go, well, I'm just naturally beautiful. It's like, so just embrace your beauty, honestly. Thank you.
It's fighting red lipstick, somebody once called it. Put your fighting red lipstick on.
Yeah. Right. Well, thank you. If you want to follow us, these are our social medias. And if you want to come and chat anymore, we'll be at Neo Walk stand for a little bit to have a chat. But thank you all for being here, and I appreciate the turnout, honestly. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.